I'm Anil Kumar, sharing with you list of questions provided by my subscribers. This is our examination week and most of the students are working hard to do well in their final exams. So all the best to you, and I hope the solution of these questions may help you. We have 6 questions on this page. You can pause the video, copy question number 1 to 4, and then now let me move this a bit. Copy question number 5 and 6, right? So these are important questions from test point of view. It seems many of you want their solutions. I have actually changed them a bit, not much, but slightly. But I hope that will help you to figure out what you really need. Let's solve them one by one. Question number 1 is to simplify the expression 2 minus secant square x by 2 divided by secant square x by 2. Now, what is secant theta? Secant theta is 1 over cos theta. Is it okay? So, when we say divide by, so let me rewrite and show you what I'm trying to say. We have 2, or let me write like this. We have 2 minus secant square x by 2 divided by secant square x by 2, correct? Now, I could actually write this as equal to 2 over secant square x by 2 minus secant square x by 2 over secant square x by 2, correct? Now, secant theta is reciprocal of cos theta, and therefore I could write this as 2 cos x by 2, and here we have just 1, right? That cancels out. So does that remind you of something? I hope you remember the formula of cos 2 theta. So let me write down the formula for cos 2 theta here, which is cos 2 theta is 2 cos square theta minus 1. I'm sorry, this is square. Secant square, so it is 2 cos square theta. So it is kind of similar, right? So basically 2 cos square theta minus 1 is cos 2 theta. So therefore we could write this as cos of 2 times x by 2. Do you see that? That is to say, that is equals to cos of x. So this expression is actually equal to cos x. Is that clear? So we have applied this particular formula here, the double angle formula for cosine. Now let's take up the next question, which is if sin x equals to 3 over 8, find the exact value of tan 2x. Now sin x is positive in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. Let's think about it. So what we have here is sin x positive. That means x could be either in quadrant 1 or in quadrant 2. Right? So these are 2 possible scenarios. Correct? So when we say sin x is 3 by 2, let's rewrite 3 by 8. It means we could be in quadrant 1 or in quadrant 2 because both are positive values for sine. Perfect. Now let's also consider triangle so that we can find what tan x is, right? So if I make a triangle with side lengths, let's say 3 and 8, 3 being opposite side to x, 8 being the hypotenuse, then this is square root of 8 square minus 3 square, correct? Which is equal to square root of 64 minus 9. Which is square root of 55. So x is 55. So that means if you are in quadrant 1, in that case tan x is equal to 3 over square root of 55. But if you are in quadrant 2, so this is in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2, tan x will be minus 3 over square root 55. Does make sense to you? Correct? Now you also know the formula for tan 2x. Let me rewrite. So we have tan 2x equals to 2 times tan x over 1 minus tan square x. So let's work out the value for both the quadrants. So let's do quadrant 1 first. So we'll do quadrant 1 first. So in quadrant 1, we can write tan 2x as equal to 2 times tan x is 3 over square root of 55 divided by 1 minus 3 over square root of 55 whole square. Perfect. That is, we could write this as 6 over square root of 55 times, here what do we have? Let me rewrite here like this, 1 over. So it is 1 minus 9 over 55. Correct? So let's take this common denominator. So we get 6 over square root 55 times 1 over 55 minus 9 over square root 55. Correct? Oh, just 55, sorry. Just 55. So that gives you 6 over, now this is 55, that goes on the top. So we could write this as times 55 divided by square root 55. And 55 minus 9 is 46. Correct? 55 minus 9 is 46. Now that could be simplified. We could divide this. 55 divided by square root 55 is 55 square root. We could divide both by 2, getting 3 over 23. So in quadrant 1, we get a positive value. Perfect. In quadrant 2, what are we going to get? We are going to get the negative value. So in quadrant 2, if the angle is obtuse, let's say if x is obtuse, in that case, tan 2x is going to be negative of this, which is negative 3 square root 55 over 23. Correct? So that is how you could solve this question. So I hope you understand and appreciate that if we give you sin x as 3 by 8, you have to consider both the quadrants and then solve accordingly. I hope that makes sense. Number 3. Write equivalent trigonometric ratios for sine 2 pi by 7. Now we are talking about correlated angles and co-function identities when we have a question like this. So let's look into the quadrant. We are given sine 2 pi by 7. That is to say that the whole pi is divided into 7 portions, correct? So if you divide the whole thing into 7 portions, this becomes 7 pi by 7. Is it okay? So here we have 0. When we say 2 pi by 7, so that means we could also say 14 pi by, we could say this is 7 pi by 14, right? So that is equal to pi by 2. So that portion is divided into, because you'll have around 3.5 in each, right? So 3.5. So 2 pi by 7 will be kind of more than 45. So it'd be kind of here like this. So that line gives you 2 pi by 7. Let us say this is 2 pi by 7. Okay. So basically, as far as sine is concerned, we know sine of pi minus theta, if this is 2 pi by 7, then we have the same value for sine, right? So writing co-function, we could say sine of 2 pi by 7 is equal to sine of pi minus 2 pi by 7. Is it okay? That's what it is, right? So you could do this, and that gives you one of the trigonometric equivalent ratios as sine 7 minus 2 as 5 pi by 7. right? So this is the scenario shown. The other thing which you can look into is sine 2 pi by 7 is also equal to, let's say, 4 pi by 14, right? So this is also equals to 4 pi by 14. So if this is 4 pi by 14, how much is 90 minus 4 pi by 14? How much is this? We have total 7, right? Out of 14, so this is 3 pi by 14. Is it okay? So we could write this also as a co-function identity. So what you know really is that sine theta is equals to sine of pi minus theta, and sine theta is also equal to cos of pi by 2 minus theta, right? So if I do cos of pi by 2 minus theta, then also I get sine theta. Is that correct? So that could give me more equivalent ratios, correct? So I could also write this as, let me write first sine 2 pi by 7 as equals to cos of pi by 2 minus theta, which is 2 pi by 7. Is it okay? And that gives you cos of this angle, 3 pi by 14. I mean, you can take common denominator and do your math, right? 7 minus 4 is 3, okay. So I'm doing both ways, as some students may find this convenient, the formula itself. Is it okay? So you could do like this. Now you could also think about relation with cosine negative. For example, if I am now considering cos of pi by 2 plus theta, right? Then cos will be negative. So I could also write sine 2 pi by 7 as negative of cos of pi by 2 plus 2 pi by 7. You get my point. So that will give you negative cos 7 plus 2, 7 plus 4, 11, right? So we get 11 pi by 14. Do you see that? So that ways you could write many equivalent ratios. Does make sense to you? You could write many equivalent ratios with this. You could even write this as equal to negative. We could go like this also, right? So because this is 7 pi by 7, so in all we have 14 pi by 7, correct? So if I do sine this place, negative value, right? 4 less. So I could also write this as equal to negative of sine of that angle. I mean, this whole thing. Do you see that? That means 2 less than 14, that is 12 pi by 7. This is also same as sine 2 pi by 7. So this way you can get many equivalent ratios for the same. So I hope the concept is clear to you. Perfect. I wrote this based on this, that is sine of minus theta is equals to minus sine theta. Does make sense to you? Okay, so you could think like this and get more equivalent ratios. Is that clear? Okay, let's move on to the next question now. Find exact value of cos pi by 8. So let's use the formula of cos 2 theta, which is 2 cos square theta minus 1. So whenever you get kind of half angle, this is a good formula to use. Now how can we apply this formula? Let's try to understand it. We know what is cos pi by 4. This is what we know. We could always write this as cos of 2 times pi by 8. Do you get an idea? So we kind of converted pi by 4 as twice some angle. Correct? Do you see that? And this can be used to find the exact value of cos pi by 8 without remembering the formulas. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is that okay? So now we have this cos 2 theta, perfect, which we could use directly and find the answer, right? So cos pi by 4 is equals to cos 2 times pi by 8. So let's begin from here now. So we say cos pi by 4 is equal to cos of 2 times pi by 8. And we know this formula, cos 2 theta is what? Is 2 times cos square theta, which is pi by 8 now, minus 1. And what is cos pi by 4? Cos pi by 4 is square root 2 over 2, right? You know this special triangle, which we are going to use. It is square root 2 if you take sides as, then this is 2. Perfect. This is for pi by 4. Okay. Now we'll rearrange. So bring 1 this side. So it becomes 1 plus square root 2 over 2 equals to 2 cos square pi by 8, right? I'm not using the formula. I'm going direct. So this could be written as 2 plus square root 2 over 2 is all this, right? Which is 2 cos square pi by 8. Now we can divide by 2. So we get 2 plus square root 2 over 4 equals to cos square pi by 8. So what is cos pi by 8? We'll square root, right? So let's take it to this side and write down our answer. So cos pi by 8 is equal to square root. And whenever you square root, you have to write plus and minus, correct? Square root of 2 plus square root 2 over 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So you could write this as plus minus half, right? So you could square root of 2 plus square root 2 divided by 2. Does make sense to you? So that is how you actually get the formula for cos pi by 8. Now since cos pi by 8 is in quadrant 1, we'll take the positive value, right? So since we'll say cos pi by 8 has to be positive, right? So we'll write this as positive 2 plus square root 2 over 2. Does make sense? So in this formula, you have to finally select, right? Now we know pi by 8 is in quadrant 1, right? So we are in quadrant 1 where all are positive, correct? So it's kind of here, right? Pi divided into 8 equal parts. You'll land up there. This is how we should do it, right? So it becomes positive. So that becomes our solution or the exact value for cos pi by 8. Is that clear? Feel free to write your comments and share your views. Let's move on and take up some application questions. Now this question is a very interesting question. It says, the height of the tip of one blade of a wind turbine above ground, h of t, can be modeled by h of t equals to 18 cos pi t plus pi over 4 plus 23, where t is time passed in seconds. Find the interval when the blade tip is at least 30 meters above the ground. So let's solve. So we have h of t equals to 18 cos within brackets pi t plus pi by 4 plus 23. Now let's find the time period for this. You could also write this as 18 cos within brackets pi you can factor out. So you get t plus 1 by 4 plus 23. So from here you can find the time period because this is k value, right? So from here you can say time period t is 2 pi by pi, which is 2. So the time period for this trigonometric function is 2. That means the cycle is going to repeat after every 2. You get my idea, right? So if you want to sketch this graph, let me just make some sketch. Cos function starts from here, but this 1 by 4 means it starts earlier, right? So let me say that the peak is here now, right? So we have peak here, and let's say this is how the function is, correct? So from here to this point maximum, this is 2. That's what I'm trying to say. Is it okay? Now, the question is when it is at least 30 meters. So, from here we know 23 is kind of middle value. Okay. Well, this diagram is not very correct. I just shown. To be precise, our x-axis should have been below. So let me redraw the x-axis. Okay, that makes sense. And this becomes a y-axis. Okay, that's fine. So the minimum will be 23 minus 18. So this will be like 5 plus. Is it okay? And in between, we will have the center axis, which will be at 23. This is at 23. Perfect. And the maximum, which is here, will be at 23 plus 18. So 8 plus 3 is 11, 141. Okay. So what we're trying to say here is, when is it above 30? So 30 is somewhere there. So we're looking at this line. So it could be either this interval or that interval. So let me shade this one. Okay. Or this one. Okay. Or this one. So that is the interval which we are looking forward to. Is it okay? Right. So when we say 30 meters above ground, let me write 30 here. So we get 30 equals to 18 cos of, I'll use the same equation, pi t plus, for calculating this is better, but for phase shift and all that is better, right? Plus 23. So we'll bring 23 this side to get 30 minus 23 equals to 18 cos pi t plus pi by 4, and then we'll divide by 18, right? So we have 30 minus 23, which is 7, divided by 18 equals to cos of pi t plus pi by 4. Is it okay? So let's calculate. Basically, what we're trying to say here is, we'll find the angle later. So we have 7 over 18. So we have 7 divided by 18, which is equals to, okay, some number. We do cos inverse. So it is definitely a positive value. So what do you understand here? That this is a positive value. So if you're looking for a solution, then for cos positive means we are looking for these two solutions. Is it okay? So plus and minus theta. Is it okay? Because cos is positive in quadrant 1 and in 4. That's the whole idea. So let's find the acute angle first. So we'll do shift cos inverse of our answer, and that gives you a value which is 1.171. So we do cos inverse of all this, which is 30 minus 23 over 18. Correct? So this is 1.17, let's say 1.17. Okay. So cos inverse is this. As you see, the angle we have to take is, you will see from here, plus and minus, because even in minus side it is positive. You get my idea, right? So that is what it is. So let me write this as either positive or negative 1.17. Let me push this a bit on this side. So what we are trying to say here is that from minus 1.17 to 1.17, it is above 30 meters. Is that clear? Perfect. So that is what we are trying to say from here. Okay. Now, this value of theta is actually pi t plus pi by 4. So it is not t. So we have to now calculate t based on these two values. Perfect. So we'll continue. So if I take minus 1.17 equated to pi t plus pi by 4, so I'm saying pi t plus pi by 4 equals to minus 1.17, right? So pi t equals to minus 1.17 minus pi by 4, right? and then we'll divide this by pi to get t value. So t is all that minus 1.17 minus pi by 4 and everything divided by pi. So that is t for us. Is it okay? So it is minus 1.17, okay, and minus pi by 4 divided by 4 and divide by pi is equal to, this is equals to minus 0.62. So this is one value, correct? This value corresponds to the negative value from this. So this corresponds to negative. Now if it is positive, in that case we'll again write this t as, I'll replace minus 1.17 with positive, right? So t equals to 1.17 minus pi by 4 divided by pi, right? So let's do this calculation again, but with positive. So it is 1.17 minus pi divided by 4 equals 2, and then we'll divide this by pi and we get 0.12, let's say, okay, we get 0.12. Okay, so that's what we get. So that means this point here is at 0.12 and the other point is minus 0.62. So that is in one interval. And if I have to find this interval, then what I need to do is I just need to add 2, which is the time period, correct? So one solution is from we can say from let's say minus 0.62 to 0.12. This is one solution. The other could be add 2 to it. So adding 2 means what? So we do 2 minus 0.62 equals to 1.38. So we get 1.38 to 2.12. Do you see that? So radians, all are in radians. So this portion here will be from 1.37 or 8, whatever. You can round it, right? To 2.12. So I've just approximated these values. So if you want exact answer, you should go 4 decimal places. Okay. So anyway, so approximately 1.38 to 2.12 is this interval. So likewise, you can give other intervals also. Since here we are not given any particular frame. Okay, so that is how you could write all possible answers, right? So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe my video, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best. Question number 6 here is, the equation cos 2x plus a cos x plus b equals to 0, where x is between 0 to 2 pi, has solution 0, pi by 3, 5 pi by 3, 2 pi. What are the values of a and b? Now this question is very different from what you've done so far. Here we are given solution of the equation and we really need to find the equation, right? I'd like you to pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now we'll start with the solution. When we say the solution is 0, pi by 3, 5 pi by 3 and 2 pi, what does it mean? So it means that cos x is, it means that x is 0, x is pi by 3, x is 5 pi by 3 and x is 2 pi. That's what it means, right? So for what value of cos x, what are those values? This is what we're trying to figure out, right? So let's sketch the cosine graph to understand better. So if the cosine graph you sketch is kind of like this, right? You get 0. If x is 0, you get 1, right? When x is 2 pi, you get 1. So this is x value of 0 and x value of 2 pi, you get 1. So that means that cos x is equal to 1, right? So this is for x equals to 0 and 2 pi. Does it make sense to you? Similarly, when x is pi by 3, then what is cos x? That's what we're trying to figure out now. So we'll just make another triangle, which you remember, pi by 3, right? So for pi by 3, cos value is half. So when x is pi by 3, we know cos x is half, even for 5 pi by 3, because then you are in quadrant 4, right? So it is half. So it's kind of here. So we're talking about these two values. Okay, so basically means we have a quadratic equation whose solution is cos x equals to 1 and cos x equals to half, right? So that is the solution of a quadratic equation. Therefore, what should be the equation, right? What should be the equation? Equation should be cos x minus 1 times cos x minus half. That should be the equation, equals to 0. Perfect. So that becomes the equation, since these are the solutions, right? So we go backwards from solution to equation. Do you see that? So we have a solution, and now we have equation. Now the idea is to expand this equation and compare with what is given to us so that we can find the unknown, right? So let's expand this. Cos x times cos x is equal to cos square x. Then we have minus half cos x multiplying with negative 1, negative cos x plus half, right? This is what we get. So this implies this is equal to 0, right? That becomes the equation. Let's multiply everything by 2, right? So we get 2 cos square x minus cos x minus 2 cos x plus 1 equals to 0. So that gives you 2 cos square x minus 3 cos x plus 1 equals to 0. Do you see that? Now how do you get cos 2x from cos square x? Well, I hope you remember the formula, which is double angle formula. The formula is cos 2x is equals to 2 cos square x minus 1. So we have 2 cos square x. If I do minus 1, then I get cos 2x. So I can make it cos 2x. Do you see that? Or we can write 2 cos square x as cos 2x plus 1, right? So we could also rewrite this. We could rewrite this as cos square x equals to, 2 cos square x equals to cos 2x plus 1. So I'll replace this. Is it okay? So we'll do this part. So 2 cos square x can be written as cos 2x plus 1 minus 3 cos x plus 1 equals to 0. Is it okay? So now we can write down our final equation and compare. So what we have here is 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have cos of 2x minus 3 cos of x plus 2 equals to 0. So if you compare, what is the value of a? So we are just comparing now the equation which we have got with what we have been given. So first two terms match for cos 2x, cos 2x. Second one, a should be minus 3, right? So we get a equals to minus 3 and capital B will be equal to 2. Is that clear? So that is how you would actually solve this question. So I hope the concept is clear to you. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe my videos, that'd be great. All the best for your exams.